Ladies and gents, welcome back. It's your boy Blitz back at it again. Today we're gonna do a little something different. We're gonna do my predictions for the 2026 World Cup. Obviously, the knockout stages are officially underway. Unfortunately, we don't have like 6 games in one day anymore. Now it's down to like three. Unfortunately, that's the only downside of this World Cup. As we go on past this point of group stages, we're gonna see less and less, but it's all good. All good things come to an end. Um, so obviously today, the day of recording, South Africa and Canada just played last night. They actually went through 1-0. They beat South Africa, I think, in like the last minutes of the game. And honestly, I would have put Canada to go through. So my predictions still stand. Obviously today we got Brazil, Japan. I believe. What other games do we have today? Actually, we have Brazil, Japan. That's the big one. Let me see where they have like a little tab here. I'll show you. So today we got Brazil, Japan, Germany, Paraguay, Netherlands, Morocco. That one is gonna be absurd. All right, so we'll start on the left hand side of the bracket, and obviously I was not able to find one where I could actually pick and choose what teams are going through. It is what it is, but Germany, Paraguay. The thing with this game is Paraguay thugged it out against. Oh, fuck, dude. Who do they play? Who do they play last? Where it was Turkey. They thugged it out. They beat Turkey. Turkey are out of the tournament, which is insane to me. I thought they were going to be the dark horses of this tournament, but I guess now, bro, they crashed out. I know they beat the U.S. over the weekend. But I mean, honestly, it wasn't anything crazy because they were already mathematically out of the tournament. There was no real point of them. You know what I mean? But all jokes aside, though, it's gonna be a tough one. But I think Germany's gonna do it. I think that 7-1 victory kind of put them in a headspace where, like, yeah, we could pretty much beat anybody. Like, we're on fire. Turns out, you lose to Ecuador. You know, 2-1. Yeah, like, okay, like, I guess they had already qualified, so maybe that's why they weren't putting in effort. But what I saw in that game was absolutely horrendous, man. Havertz, it's not even time to learn Chinese or Arabic anymore, bro. I think it's time to hang up the boots, man. I know he's a big game player. He scores in pretty much all the finals he's ever played in. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't see. I wasn't very impressed. Undav, though, actually against the Ivory Coast, I believe, right? When Ivory Coast went up 1-0 and then Germany ended up coming back, he had a beautiful game. And I think Germany need a striker like that. Historically, they've had actual, like, not build up strikers because that's what Havertz is, but I think also Sane, bro, your time is done, man. That guy is horrible. Every time he got the ball, it was the same move over and over again. It was so predictable, and he cost them. They didn't have any. They had no. They were just mainly feeding it through the middle, Musiala and Wirtz. But it just, I don't know. I don't know if it just wasn't working because they, who knows. But all right, so obviously, I think it's pretty obvious we got Germany going through. Uh, Next would be France, Sweden. This one's gonna be really tough because what I saw Sweden when they played against Japan, both teams are on par. Like, they, you know, nothing crazy. I'm surprised Sweden lost against. I'm surprised they didn't lose because they were giving, both teams had amazing chances, but it ended up 1-1. I do think that no matter how good that front three of Alanga, who has been popping off this whole tournament, obviously Jokeres looks like he's hungry, and Isak, who's just now getting back into it, they're good, but they're not gonna beat Dembele, Mbappe, Doe, Barcola, Elise. Like, France is just so overpowered. I genuinely don't see anyone stopping them until the final. Because before we get any further, I know who's gonna win this tournament. I have money on that team to win because I think it's meant to be. So Germany, France advance out of their round of 32. South Africa, Canada. Canada went through. Netherlands, Morocco. This one is only tough because Morocco and Netherlands both deserve to go past this round of 32. So one of them is going to go home early today. And so it is unfortunate, but that's just how the World Cup is, you know. Same thing with Brazil, Japan. Neither of those teams deserve to be out so soon, but it's gonna have to happen, you know. And you gotta feel for them, and that's why, the placements of the group stages are so important, you know. Because if you get first or second, like if a good team gets first and they're supposed to be an easy pick, but an even better team or a team on par gets second, they're in the same pool. I think that's how that works. So, yeah, me personally, I think Netherlands are gonna get the job done. They played impressively against Sweden. De Jong, man, oh my, bro, we love you, man. Please never leave Barca. I beg of you. And Morocco is good. They have an amazing, solid squad. Obviously, they held their own against what was that game where they ended up winning last minute? Not last minute, but they really, they had composure, and that's what matters. Against, I think, Haiti. I think they won 4-2, I believe. But yeah, unfortunately, I do see Morocco falling out of the tournament today. It is what it is. I do think that if it weren't for that Netherlands matchup, they would have gone far. I do think, for example, like they could beat the likes of Sweden. I think they could beat Paraguay, Croatia, Austria, Bosnia, maybe not Senegal.
The Sweden men's national football team represents Sweden in men's international football, and it is controlled by the
Alexa, stop. Alright, so that would mean Portugal, Croatia. Now, this one's hard because from what I've seen from the Portugal games, that man Ronaldo, it's always been like that. But I think the thing with him is, obviously Messi's the GOAT. No one can change my mind on that. But the thing with Ronaldo is, he used to make it all about himself, and it was fair and it was valid because he was in his prime. He was at his peak. You know, he had the arrogance. He had the, you know what, if I want to win, we'll win. Because he had it like that, you know what I mean? Like he was in a position where his talents, he could walk the walk. And unfortunately now, he did stat pad against fucking the mighty Uzbekistan. And obviously I watched the game. Actually, when was it today? It would be like 2 nights ago. Colombia, Portugal. They didn't do anything. And Colombia got robbed. I'll tell you that much because the motherfucker's shoe size was a half an inch bigger. And that's besides the point. But that being said, if it wasn't for Ronaldo, that Portugal team is absurd, bro. Leao, he scored that really good goal against Uzbekistan. He played a couple of minutes against Colombia. He looks like he's getting back into shape. He's usually decent for Portugal. I know that obviously he's been lacking at Milan, and I think he's planning on leaving if I'm not mistaken. But that's besides the point. Neither here or there. I don't see Croatia. I do think they're going to put in a good fight. Obviously, Luka Modric is still a world-class player. They do have some younger talent in that team. Obviously, I'm fucking like 90% sure. I have not watched the Croatia game, but I'm 90% sure Perisic still plays. And that man is like, how old is he? Hold on, let's see. How old is Ivan? Oh, why am I in all caps? How old is this guy? He's 37. He's 37 years young, so could be worse. Okay, but yeah, I don't think that team can get past. And even if they were to get through Portugal, which I don't see Croatia doing, they're not beating the likes of Netherlands. You know what I mean? So I got Portugal going through against Croatia. Now that being said, Spain, Austria, fucking low block. Possession merchants, right? Also, look at what I've found out because of a TikTok. This motherfucker, what the fuck? No, I don't know why I got an ad. Where do I see the lineups, brother? What the fuck? Where are the lineups? See more odds and props. Boy. Oh, there we go. Rankings. Bear with me here. Bro, tell me why. Where is he? This guy, he plays for Austria now. Like, I know that it's pretty much impossible to get into that England squad, especially now that Tuchel's in there. Palmer didn't make it. But what the fuck? Chukwuemeka switches from England to Austria. I was like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? He didn't even play. No, he was a substitute 3 times. Tunisia, Jordan, Argentina. Shots on goal, 1. He's pretty decent in FIFA, or at least he was in career mode. Anyways, that's beside the point. Spain, obviously, are going to be able to beat Austria, no doubt about it. Baby goat. That's all I got to say. Baby goat, my goat. My baby goat, Yamal, is going to get the job done. I will say, though, Spain's lack of influence on the pitch elsewhere besides the fucking right-hand side where Yamal plays or through the center with Pedri is very, very, very scary. They don't seem to have a real plan going 9 times out of 10. But that being said, I mean, you can't really blame. I don't know. Obviously, they lost like Fermin Lopez, and that he makes such a difference in that national side. But I do think Spain. I think Spain got it. I think Spain got it against Austria. So that leaves us to a Portugal-Spain game. USA Bosnia. I'm gonna be honest. USA, one of the top 5 informed teams at this World Cup. They have absolutely killed it. I think it's the home advantage. I think it's the first time that I've seen it with my own eyes. In what? They didn't make it the 2018 one. Out of the last 2 World Cups that I've witnessed, this one's the first one where the U.S. seems like they genuinely have people behind the movement. You know what I mean? And that's the more important. That's the most important thing about these international cups, right? Like, obviously anyone can support a club, but like when you have your own people supporting you and rooting for you, I feel like that you take that and you fucking run with it, man. And that's why that's why we'll get to them. But Mexico went completely. They won every single one of their games in the group stages because they're at home, the crowd, everything. They're riled up, and they're a decent side. I'm gonna be honest. I'm Mexican, but I didn't see us being that good. I thought we were gonna lose against Korea. Technically, we only won by luck. Who cares? Czech Republic again. Just because historically we don't have the best record when it comes to European sides, and I mean they had Patrick Schick. They have a decent squad, but we beat them 3-0. So we'll get to them. USA Bosnia. I do think the USA is gonna get it done. I think comfortably. I think that Bosnia, they haven't had the best tournament. They obviously they did go through, but I don't think they're gonna do anything shocking. So far I feel like I've been pretty safe with my predictions. Obviously there's bound to be at least 1 or 2 upsets. Like the one of the games that's the 2 games on this left hand side are really 50-50 for me. Portugal, Croatia, and Netherlands, Morocco. We gotta just wait and see. But yeah, I stand firm on my picks. And now with Belgium, Senegal. If I were the U.S., I would want Belgium to beat their ass. Why? The U.S. can beat Belgium. The U.S. cannot beat Senegal. I will stand on that. They are just physically, athletically, football intelligently. Like, they're just overall the African champions, bro. Like, yes, they might have. I genuinely thought Senegal were going to upset France. They had an amazing game, but obviously they still lost. I do think Senegal beat Belgium, though. I know that Belgium had that really good send-off game, that 5-1 win. But that being said, they've been lacking and struggling all tournament, besides the last group stage game. So I don't think they're gonna get past Senegal. Senegal, I think, are in safe hands. Now, we're going to shift over to the right hand side of the bracket here. Brazil, Japan. It's a tough one for me, and it's at 1 p.m. today. It's a tough one. I'm recording this at, what time is it? It's 9:54 in the morning. I think this is the year that we finally see Brazil go far. Kind of. No, I do. Brazil, Vinny is a different beast. Like, obviously, I'm again a Barca fan through and through, but I can acknowledge when a player is good, of good quality. Who's he had a horrible season. He hasn't been in the best form at least at the club level. But that being said, I don't think that. I think Japan are gonna hold their own. They're gonna do well, but I don't see them beating Brazil. I think Brazil are just they have that hunger of like they have something to prove, and especially it's a lot more new players in that squad. Ryan I think is their right winger. Cunha, who has been popping off, obviously Vinny, and then the midfield is a little shaky. Obviously they still rely on like unks like Casemiro and whatnot, but I do see Brazil going through. Obviously Marquinhos, he just went back to back. UCL titles. Obviously, defensively, he's always been solid. I think they're playing with Militao. I'll be honest. I don't think I've watched a Brazil game. I've been very in and out of this World Cup. I watched some game. I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really in a World Cup mood, to be honest with you guys. Maybe it gets better throughout the knockouts. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that I've been bleeding money. Not financial advice, but. And it's nice to put, money here and there on certain teams, certain players to do well. But I bled out like a good chunk, so I stopped. I take the L and I move on, right? But yeah, I see Brazil going through. I'll be honest. Japan's going to hold their own. It's going to be a beautiful game, crazy game. But I do see Brazil going through. Ivory Coast, Norway. Now, again, this is going back to what I said about Senegal, the same thing. These African teams, man, they have like the passion that these guys have. I think they're willing to die for the badge and the physicality aspect. That's why Norway-Senegal for me, was that the matchup? I think it was Norway-Senegal for me was a good game because physicality-wise, obviously the Norwegians, bro, they're like all 6'4" upwards. Sorloth, Holland, you have all these fucking giants. But when you go against other giants and other physically demanding players, that goes out the window, and then it's just about footballing ability. I do see Norway pulling through. Obviously, my boy Holland, he's going to absolutely go crazy. Odegaard is going insane. That whole team is good. Again, physicality means a lot, especially in this tournament, because they don't really push you through. Because physically, if you can excel in the weather and the temperature that they're dealing with, because half of these people aren't used to it. Half of these players, obviously they're professionals and whatnot, but they don't usually play in the environment of, for example, a Miami, which is probably like how hot is Miami right now? It's probably upwards of 90 degrees. Most of these Europeans, most of these guys play in Europe. It's never really that hot. So physical health in this tournament seems to matter the most to me. Obviously, I notice most of the time these guys are all cramping. Fucking, they all gotta be stretching during the hydration breaks and stuff. And or I could just be rambling. Who knows? But I do think Norway beat Ivory Coast. That being said, this game, you guys do not understand the significance of it. Ecuador, Mexico in a World Cup knockout game. This is on Tuesday. Brother, where I'm from at least, in the part of New York that I'm in, this is going to be an all-out war. I don't know what's going to happen when either of these teams win, but we're going to be there. I might, I might do a little vlog to show you guys because it's going to be absolutely crazy. That being said, I do see Mexico beating Ecuador easy. Home advantage is what I was talking about. Ecuador going to Mexico to play Mexicans and Ecuadorians. I don't know how it is anywhere else in the world, but over here, we're not, obviously we're all human, we all get along, but when it comes to rivalries and stuff like that, there's always been something there. So this is going to be an all-out war, but unfortunately, I see Mexico becoming victorious in this war. That being said, what's about to happen next isn't so good for us. England, Congo. England are gonna push through. I don't think. Although I did see the Congo DR game, the DR Congo game, and it's that striker that plays in the Prem popped off, man, popped off. So they're gonna have some. They're gonna have some, attackers who actually know how to score. And I think if he does play in the Prem, obviously he's used to he's familiar with English football. I'm like 90% sure he plays in the Prem. I could be fucking being a dickhead and confusing him, but good guy, good solid player. Unfortunately, I do see England going through. And oh man, this little bracket here is this bracket is cooked. Argentina, Cape Verde. Come on, Argentina are obviously gonna go through. I'm not even gonna get into that. My goat, Messi, has been popping off. Australia, Egypt. That one's a tough one for me. It is because Egypt seem to, they have the star power, Marmoush, Salah. They have other, decent players. But Australia, I feel like have been really thugging it out. These guys got real passion. But I think one last dance. I think I see Egypt going through. If you want me to be honest. Switzerland, Algeria. Switzerland have always been one of those teams where they usually make it pretty far. They have my international goat. He really only turns up for Switzerland. Mbolo, I think that's his name. If that he even plays. But Algeria have. I feel like Algeria can do it. Mahrez is still there. I think I saw something. I don't know if it's true. Apparently they didn't lose on purpose, but they may or may not have stopped trying in order to get second, not first. Because if they would have gotten first, I think they would have gotten Argentina. So I do see Switzerland, Algeria. That's honestly anyone's guess. I am going to go for Switzerland. And now Colombia, Ghana. Ghana impressed me against England. The fact that they held a draw. Also, they robbed Kudos, my fucking goat, of a spot on the international team just for fucking Semenyo or whatever his fuck ass name is from Man City. Anyways, I was saying before the game, Kudos is gonna shock the world. I checked the fucking lineups. My boy's not even called up for the squad. Anyways, I do see Colombia going through. I think they have the star power. I think they have the determination and the mindset to beat pretty much any of these teams on this side of the bracket. So, except for one, because I see Colombia beating Brazil. I think that's something that could possibly happen. When it comes to, Argentina, maybe not so likely. But we progress. Our first round of 16 game on the left hand side would be Germany, France. I see France taking it home. No explanation there. Again, that team is absolutely stacked. I don't see anyone stopping them besides one. And we'll get to that. When we get to it, we'll get to it. Now, Canada, Netherlands. Netherlands are going to cruise by. Easiest quarterfinal run of their entire existence. Unless they get fucking upset by Morocco today. We'll see. Portugal, Croatia. Oh, wait, no, I already said Portugal. Portugal, Spain. Bye-bye, Ronaldo. It was a good run. Baby Goat is going to absolutely blow you out the water. All jokes aside, it's like midfield. My S shows everywhere on that pitch. So it's going to be a really good game. I do see Spain winning this one, though. It's going to be USA, Senegal. Senegal are going to progress. I do not see the U.S. beating Senegal whatsoever. I think that, yeah, you have the run of, you have a good form and whatnot, but AFCON champions. Although I swear they had a friendly. Did they not have a friendly and they lost? Yeah, they did have a friendly and we won. Never mind. And this was in May. This is like literally right before the World Cup. I will say. Okay, that might Nah, I still think Senegal are gonna get the job done. It's a friendly compared to the World Cup. I know the World Cup is in your home and whatnot, but I do think that after the Turkey defeat, they're a bit low, but I think Senegal have proved me that they can do it against top teams, and I think Senegal are gonna go through. Going back to this side, right? So we got Netherlands going through against Canada. We got Spain going against Portugal. Okay. This side, Brazil, Norway. I do see Brazil beating Norway. They have the more overall better squad that only that doesn't allow just 2-3 players, star players on the other team to help you advance with. Mexico, England. A man can dream, and considering the fact that they drew against Ghana, and they're not really. They're gonna be. I still believe that they're gonna be at home. I think if they get to the quarterfinals, they gotta come over to the states to play. I'm gonna be realistic. I don't see Mexico beating England at all. But we'll see, I guess, Argentina. Argentina against Egypt. I see Argentina going through. And then we got Colombia, Switzerland. Again, I see Colombia going through. Easy for me. Now, back to the round of 16s on this side. We got the quarterfinals. So we got France going against, I believe, Netherlands, right? That's who we had. And again, if there was a team that could stop France, it's going to be Netherlands. Because that team is absolutely insane. I'm telling you. But that being said, I don't see France beating Netherlands. I see France going through. Then we got Spain, Senegal. I see Spain going through. Simple. Again, I have my money on Spain. I think they're gonna do great, unless something turns out here in this bracket. But then we would have England, Brazil. England, Brazil. I would have to say. I think Brazil get it done. I think some of these European nations, they're not as good as they say. Tuchel still hasn't found his formula, I guess you can say. I got England to beat Brazil. I got Brazil to beat England, and that's gonna be their first ever quarterfinals in God knows how long. Then we would have Colombia, Argentina. Bro, this is gonna be legendary. Copa America rerun. I do see Argentina claiming victorious once again. The amount of people on that Argentinian team that would die for Messi. It's absolutely insane. Obviously, Colombia have a good run getting into the quarters, but I think the run ends there. I would love to see Colombia go through, because if Colombia were, they'd go against Brazil in the semis. And I think they have a really good chance against Brazil. So, and the way things stand, a game that I would love to see would be Colombia, Ecuador. Colombia, Mexico. We would have to beat England and Brazil, I think, to get into the semis with Colombia. Colombia would have to beat Argentina for us to play again. Or I forget. I don't know. It's kind of confusing looking at this. Anyways, yeah, Colombia's run ends there in this World Cup. I do think they do have a good shot if they can get past Argentina. I guarantee you they can get into that semifinal. Well, obviously, but yeah, I got Argentina beating Colombia. So that leaves us with, I believe, 4 teams. Argentina, Brazil on the right side, and France, Spain on the other. And that being said, I believe Spain win against France in the semifinals to advance to the final. I think again Yamal has the opportunity of a lifetime, and he is that star player. I was losing faith. Messi's getting up there in age, and I never thought that we'd have another player to really. Uh, I'm not gonna use the word look up to because bro, the guy's younger than me, man. The guy's 18. He's 3 years younger than me. And look the fuck I'm doing. I'm just here sitting in my fucking in my chair. But yeah, I think Spain are gonna do it. I think that a lot of people are behind Yamal. A lot of new fans to the sport. A lot of people who this is their Messi. These kids look up to this guy, and I think again he has the ability. He's done it before. The thing with France is Mbappe's just hungry, man. The guy's hungry. Don't get me wrong. He is a team player sometimes, but history has it he's not the best when it comes to playing with others. So I see Spain getting this one done, advancing to the final. Then we have a South America banger, bro. Argentina, Brazil. And I do see Brazil going through. No. What am I saying? I see Brazil going home. I see Argentina going to the final, back-to-back finals. I know that a lot of people are gonna, doubt that. Again, it could be Colombia over Argentina. I do think Argentina are gonna get to the quarterfinals easily. But again, in between, whoever wins that quarterfinal of Argentina or Colombia are going to the final. I don't think Brazil could be either. Brazil is good, but again, they just don't have, they always lack something. It's been years since they had that, they crashed out against Germany, fucking 7-1 in 2014. They lost against, I believe, Belgium 2018, 2022. I don't even remember, these Brazil teams, they just, I don't know, it's what they're, my take on that whole system is that, and it's the same thing where I see it in Mexico as well. Like, a lot of these guys, they think that they have to go to Europe at a young age to develop. You strip away the authenticity of your own country's play style. Like, these Brazilians, they don't have it anymore. They can't take on 2, 3, 4 people at a time. It's hard because all these guys go into Europe, and the way Europe is set up, it's a system, So they get taught to pass. Don't get me wrong, it's technical, yeah, but at what cost? Your country's known for flair and making the game beautiful. My favorite players of all time, the players that made me fall in love with the sport, they're all from Brazil, So it's just they gotta get that lesson taught to them, man. And I know there's a lot more Brazilian stars now in this national camp. So prove me right, prove me that you guys can go far. I don't see them losing against Japan. I don't see them losing against England. I think they're gonna thug it out. But Argentina's where it stops because that Messi power is insane, brother. So yeah, that leaves us with the fucking final, the finalissima final that we never got. Argentina, Spain, and unfortunately, but fortunately, if there was anyone to beat Lionel Messi in a World Cup final, to strip him away from that glory of claiming back-to-back World Cups, and I think he would be happy with that. Lamine Yamal, man. Lamine Yamal and Spain are gonna win it. Yes, there's France is in the way, but a lot of people think France is gonna do it. They can. Don't get me wrong, they can. But I think Spain again, they haven't shown me too much. Obviously, they fucking tied against Cape Verde, right? They just barely beat Uruguay. Uruguay was playing really dirty, so it wasn't really that fair of a game. But yeah, I think 2026 World Cup winners will be Spain. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Argentina, but I think Spain have a good shot. For me, the way it goes is Spain, France, Brazil. No, it goes Spain, Argentina, France, Brazil, Colombia. I don't see like a Netherlands can go far, but I just don't think they could. If Netherlands could beat France, they could beat Spain. Or I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know. Do not take my words as me claiming anything. We gotta just wait and see. But I got Spain winning the 2026 World Cup. Now, this is a long ass video. I just checked, it's 35 minutes long, so we gotta chop this up and get it out to you guys. So I appreciate you guys for watching. We'll check back in a month's time. July 19th is the final, and I guess we'll see. We'll see who was right, who was wrong. Take care, guys. Peace.